Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our final presentation of 2014. That's hard to believe. It's been a jam-packed year full of stuff, but it's our last program for 2014, Two Banks and a Square. It's our 30-minute Thursday, and I do want to mention that we have the Wild Wisconsin Winter Web Conference coming up again in its third year. That'll be January 21st and the 22nd, and the website flashed on your screen, and I'll post that in the chat box as well. But there will be 5 webinars each day that day, like we did last year, and we encourage your participation in that. For today, we have Kay Rankel with us, and she is the director of the Gillett Public Library. And Gillett is about, I'd say, what is it, Kay, about a 40-minute...
Yeah, we're about 40 minutes northwest of Green Bay.
Northwest of Green Bay.
Community.
Yeah, and pretty close to, actually, only about 10 minutes away from where I grew up. And they just do, for a small library and a small community, they just do some amazing things all the time. And I really just love this idea when Kay talked about it in the spring, and I was excited that they were doing this, and I thought it was something that she should talk about. So, Kay, whenever you are ready, please go ahead.
Sure, I'm ready. Well, I thought what I would do is I would start out with our history, and while I'm talking about it, I'm just going to play this little PowerPoint presentation that I had presented to our City Council and to our community to try to promote this concept. In creating this PowerPoint presentation, I learned about placemaking principles and the Project for Public Spaces. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but they have some very unique, common sense type concepts to try to benefit your community, to revitalize your community, and I wanted to use those when I was promoting this project, not only to City Council but to our community. But to get to our history, back in 2011, we knew that we wanted to start an expansion project. We needed a second meeting room space. We were currently turning groups away who wanted to use our meeting room. We are a very busy place. When school lets out, the kids come here. We have very few places for these kids to sit and then to try to accommodate adults as well. So we knew we needed to do an expansion project, and our friends of the library went ahead with an architectural plan, and we started to do fundraising and work towards this expansion project behind our existing facility. Well, in the meantime, in fall of 2013, the BMO Harris Bank building, which is located right next door to us, decided they were going to close that branch. And it was like a light bulb went off for all of us. We said, hey, you know, we can still create these meeting room spaces, and now we're getting all this real estate as well, and maybe we can do something different with that. So we all started talking and just, you know, thinking about what we wanted to do, and we came up with a community center and a community square idea. Now, it's not a community square like most of you are familiar with in a larger town where it's surrounded with businesses and things like that. This is a square piece of property that's located right on Main Street, and it's a place where we can bring in lunchtime entertainment or farmers market, ice skating in winter, interactive water feature in summer, whatever. But it's something that it's going to be right here adjacent to the library and part of the library's function. So that is basically how we got started with this project. And what's good about this project also is that we can do it in phases as money is available. So phase 1, what we want to do is create 2 meeting room spaces inside that bank building. We also have to knock out a wall in between 2 existing office spaces and add a second bathroom. Once that's done and the meeting rooms are the meetings are taking place over there, we can work on phase 2, which is to convert our existing meeting room space into library space. We can create more seating for people. We can create more collection space. But again, we can do that as money is available. Once phase 1 is done, we can work on phase 2. And phase 3, which I'm most excited about, is to develop this community square concept. There is so much potential in this community square. As I said, a farmer's market, lunchtime entertainment, water feature in summer, ice skating in winter. There are so many things we can do here. And we put out a survey to our community and know what our community wants to do in this space. And since we purchased the building in May of this year, we have received enough funding to go ahead with phase one, which is to put in that second bathroom. So we're really excited to get started with that. When we got this building and I was starting to look into funding and how we can do this without raising taxes, I started looking into grants that are available for libraries, and as many of you know, there aren't very many grants available for libraries. And I just started searching for community centers, community squares, what's available, what's out there. And I found out about the Project for Public Spaces. They promote placemaking principles, and I don't want to get into that yet. I'm going to point you in the direction of their website later so you can find out more about it. But they are very common sense principles that will help you revitalize your community. And lo and behold, they were offering a grant for public libraries this past summer. And the grant was sponsored not only by the Project for Public Spaces, but it was sponsored by OCLC and Redbox. And through the grant process, we received professional consulting from the Project for Public Spaces folks. We also received $5,000 from Redbox that would allow us to buy materials. And of that, we could spend $1,000 locally, so I made our local hardware store here in town very happy because I bought picnic tables and benches with that money. I want to talk a little bit about what this outside the box grant was about, because some of you may be thinking outside the box as well, and this is an opportunity that's available. So I'm just going to show this short 1-minute movie here. I may have to turn my volume up a little. So that was kind of what this whole thing was about. They wanted libraries to think outside the box and move from inside the building to outside the building. And we were already doing this with this Community Square project. So we were one of 22 libraries and library systems in the country that received this grant. Here we are. Whoops. And we were the only one in Wisconsin that received it. And it was just such a phenomenal experience to be involved with the Project for Public Spaces folks. They were just wonderful, and it's a great thing to learn about. I want to share some photos too from the event that we had. We decided to use the funding that we got from this grant to host an open house event in our Community Square area. We are fortunate enough to have a local celebrity in town. She won the National Teen USA competition, and she wanted to host a back-to-school fashion show, which we did outside on a carpet that we had. The other thing we did was we christened the square. The kids are all wearing their roller skates, so we could do that very simply by we didn't have to do any renovations to this space. It already was an asphalt parking lot, and we christened the square with roller skating. We also brought in one of our local bands, Entertainment. They're a folk group. This is actually inside the bank building. We just brought chairs in there, and that's where they were doing their program. Let's just see here. Oh, the other thing that we did, this was called Chuck a Duck for a Buck. The gentleman standing in the red shirt on the right-hand side was wearing his little duck hat, and he's one of my Friends of the Library members. He's just a phenomenal library supporter, so we did that. And then at the end of the evening, my coworker and I did the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, which I think everybody did at one time or another this past summer. But it was a very successful event. We had a great day. I've been talking about the project for public spaces. If you guys get nothing out of this, at least I would like you to just look into their website a little bit more. They have many resources that are available that don't cost a thing. You can certainly pay for their professional consulting services, but you can get a lot of wonderful ideas just looking at their resources that they have available here on their website. They also have books that are available. This is one that I bought for our library, so I know it's available in our library system. But it just talks about how you can look at a space a little bit differently and create a better place in your community. So this is what we're doing now. We are basically at a point where we're going to start working on the community center building itself. We have the funding that we can put in that second bathroom over there. But right now, without doing any renovations at all, we can create an ice skating rink. So right now we are looking to do that, and the city crew is going to be plowing the ice. Here is a picture of them creating the space they're putting all the snow all around the whole perimeter. And then our local fire department is going to be coming as soon as the weather gets a little bit colder, and they're going to bring their tanker truck and they're going to flood the ice. So I'm really excited to be offering that to the community this year. It should be a lot of fun. So I basically just want to say that this outside-the-box program is a phenomenal one that all libraries could take advantage of. And you need to think a little bit outside of the books and everything else that's in your space. Think about how you can be a motivator in your community. Know that you really can make a difference. And I guess one of the downfalls that I ran into is there were a lot of naysayers in the community, a lot of good old boys, so to speak, that just didn't think that this was going to work. The placemaking principles, the positive experience with getting this national grant really changed their tone, and the community is very much behind us on this project, which is really exciting. So I guess I'm done a little bit sooner than I thought I was going to be, Jamie, but I don't know if anyone has any questions about our project.
That's perfectly fine, Kay. So as I mentioned, if you have any questions for Kay about the project or the timeline when they hope to have this all done or anything like that, use your question box and I can relay that to her. So my question, Kay, is, was there any question, like when you purchased this space, was there any, especially, or like when you purchased the bank, was there any question that it was going to be like a community space, or did you ever think like, oh, we could just use more space for our collection, or how did that all come about?
We knew we couldn't use it for collection space. It's in a separate building.
Okay.
And that would require more staffing. As it is now, when people use our meeting room after hours, they have to sign out for a key from us. So it's going to be the same concept here. People are going to be able to use that bank building, the community center building, for meetings. They're just going to have to get a key from us. And it doesn't require that we have to staff that space.
Okay. Okay. So when are you hoping to have everything completed? Realistic, I mean, you probably have a goal in mind, but when are you thinking realistically this will all be done?
Well, the thing is that since we bought the building in May, we received enough donations to do the renovations inside that bank building. The holdup that we have, unfortunately, being in a smaller community, is we want to deal with local contractors. Well, we've had 5 local contractors that came out in the summer. I got a written quote back from just one of them. So from many more phone calls, they all came back again, and now as of December, I have 2 written quotes. So okay. We're trying very hard to stay with local contractors. And that's kind of the hassle that we're in right now, is that we have the money to do the work, but we don't have the commitment from our local guys to do it yet. So we're kind of at a standstill right now. We're not sure what we're going to do from here. But I'm still confident that I would say by late spring, that these projects can be done in there. There is nothing real major that we have to do. So I think that once we get somebody in there, it's going to go pretty quickly. And then once that's done, we can start on the renovations in our existing meeting room here in the library building.
So what do you plan on doing with your existing meeting room?
Well, right now it's a fairly good-sized meeting room. It can accommodate up to 90 people. So what we want to do is just widen the wall. That there is a wall between the library space and the meeting room space here. We're going to just widen that a little bit. And then we're going to be bringing in some bookshelves and some seating for people to access Wi-Fi, to socialize, to read the paper, to study, whatever. Like I said, we have very few spaces in the existing library right now. We have 2 tables and 4 chairs where people can come and sit. So when we get 20 kids here after school, that space is gone. Mm-hmm. There is no quiet space in our library.
Okay. So the library is the owner of the new bank building.
It is
as well.
Yes.
Okay. So were there naysayers about that as well? Like, why are you purchasing this, or why, you know?
Well, we have the funding already. We have some wonderful people in the community that have been donating to the library on an annual basis. And we have been pooling that money knowing that we wanted to do an expansion project. The only naysayer we had was one of our city councilmen at the time that was disappointed to know that another building was going to become a nonprofit. But other than that, everybody else said, hey, it's great that the library is doing this and they're not raising taxes to do it.
Right. So when the skating rink is up, is that something that the library or your volunteers have to kind of manage, so to speak, or will there be certain hours that that's open? And is there anything with liability with that?
Well, our regular insurance, I have been told, is going to handle anything that would happen in that space. It is now. We own that parking lot now.
Okay.
So what I've done is ask for volunteers who would be willing to help us maintain this rink. The city crew is going to continue to do the plowing after heavy snows, but I'm looking for somebody who can come here on a daily basis and sweep the snow off the ice, pick up litter, repair small cracks, that kind of thing. And we have 3 families that have come forward because they're so excited about this project, and they are willing to do this for us. So it is not all, the burden is not going to all be on our shoulders, but we are excited to be able to offer it as part of the library experience.
So would the rink only be open during library hours then?
Well, the library this year is going to act, the library building is going to act as a warming center. So we're going to utilize our existing meeting room space for kids to be able to come in and change their skates, put them on, and get out there. We're not going to keep it open in the evening. I mean, we're not going to be able to fence it off to keep people out of there. So this is going to be a learning experience for us. So.
Well, I think this is one of those things, once everything is complete, we'd like to hear. I think a lot of people would be interested in hearing from you again, just seeing how everything went and what you learned from this whole project. Since you said it is a new concept and a learning experience for all of you. So I'm not seeing any other questions come in. So I think we're going to cut this short, which I don't think the busy people listening in will have a problem with that. So, Kay, do you just want to, I'm going to type do you mind if I type your email address in the chat?
Oh, no problem.
So if you,
we have everything available on our website. We have a community center, community square page right on our website. That's where I started today.
Okay.
So if you would just go to gillettpubliclibrary.com, there's more information on not only the community center square, but also the Outside the Box grant. And again, I would just suggest that everybody just check out the Project for Public Spaces. There is just so much information out there, and it's meant for community building, but libraries can benefit from it too.
Excellent. Okay, and I listed your email and in case of the website is Gillett Public Library where you can take a closer look at the photos. Thanks again, Kay, for talking about this, and I think, we will probably look at doing an update maybe in spring or summer once the project is complete. Thank you all for listening in. I hope you have a great morning and a great rest of your week.
And happy holidays, everybody.
And happy holidays.
All righty. Bye-bye.